everyone, Karen Roby and Adrian Kingsley-Hughes here for ZDNet talking about the Apple here 2020 event in September 2020. Lots of information coming out of this event. Adrian, we're going to talk specifically about what some of the announcements mean for developers. Take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday is another example of 2020 being very different to previous years. We saw Apple basically say, hey, developers, iOS 14 is going to be out the door tomorrow. And I've heard from a lot of developers that are going, what? We only get 24 hours notice to support new features and to make sure that our apps are working properly on this new release. Because as Apple works, developers can't submit apps with new features for a new iOS release until what's called the Golden Master is released. And usually developers get about a week's notice between the release of that and iOS going out to the public. They've had 24 hours this time. I've talked to developers who are like, we're going to get the blame for everything that's not working. I've talked to a couple of developers who are saying, we're actually telling people don't update if you want things to work. So it's an odd situation of things that people have expected to work a certain way being different. The other thing that's interesting is that Apple unveiled new iPads that are powered by the chip that the new iPhone will release, but there's no new iPhone because that's been delayed because of coronavirus. And that's going to be a different event later on, probably next month. So everything's up in the air. It's all changed. It's all different. Apple's focusing on services a lot more. Apple's giving developers another kick, or at least that's how some developers are seeing it. It's such a weird year. Nothing's playing out as we expected it.
Yeah, that is for sure. All around for us, Adrian, for 2020, kind of par for the course. So what does this mean for, how developers view Apple? What does it mean for how Apple views developers?
Yeah, I think that there's this thing going on between Apple and developers now where they feel like they're being squeezed in the middle, that Apple really needs these developers to be putting out cool software because that's what makes the iPhone platform and the iPad platform work. But increasingly, I'm hearing from developers feeling that Apple's just not there for them. Now, whether that's because people don't want models to change or they do want models to change, this 30% cut that Apple takes of things is, some people are very happy with it, other people are not. And we're in this ground where everybody's so polarized. But I do accept the idea that if apps aren't working properly on iOS 14, and bear in mind, this will be on tens of millions, hundreds of millions of devices within a few days, those people who are suffering problems aren't going to be screaming at Apple and Tim Cook. They're going to be screaming at app developers and leaving bad reviews in the App Store. So they do have a point that they've not really been given enough time to make apps that are ready. And my experience of using the preview betas of iOS 14 has been that while it works pretty well, there's still some shaky stuff in there. And so it's the developers that are going to catch the flack for all that shaky stuff once there's millions of eyeballs on it and everybody's all ultra critical and everybody wants, I paid 99 cents for this app and now it doesn't work properly. So, it's again in that position where developers feel like Apple just didn't respect them enough to give them what I think they were used to. And they now feel they're going to be at the front end of any issues that arise as a result of that.
Yeah, that's certainly the sentiment that we're hearing, from most, it seems, and from articles and social media and comments that you read out there, Adrian. In closing, just kind of, I know we've got several writers that have been looking into the hardware and talking more about the Apple Watch, new iPad, those kind of things that Apple announced. But in general, what was your kind of overall feeling about the event altogether?
I think as far as hardware was concerned, I think the Apple Watch SE was the interesting one. And also the Apple Watch in general, because I remember the first Apple Watch launch where Apple was positioning this thing as a bauble on people's wrists made out of gold. And they had all these fashion magazines there who weren't used to covering tech events. And then that quickly changed because I think it never got that level of traction as a in that same sense that you might a Gucci handbag or something, and it became more of a fitness band. And Apple's been really good in playing this health and fitness thing. And now we've got a blood oxygen monitor on here, which I'm sure people who love to collect statistics about their heart rate and how much exercise they get in will really love this. But it's clear that Apple is also wanting to target that kind of cheaper area of the market with an SE watch. And it's clear that SE now is Apple's code name for budget, at least, or last year's stuff that's been slightly tweaked to make it more appealing. And it's interesting that I think that it's going to get this watch on into the hands, or at least on the wrists of a lot more people. It's clear that Apple's building that ecosystem wide again. That the iPhone base maybe is not growing as fast as it could be, but that Apple Watch place, I remember when that was first released and we were all skeptical. No, that's a big thing now, and Apple's riding that gravy train.
Yeah, I would say so. All right, Adrian. Well, we have much more, of course, from the Apple event on ZDNet, and we hope all of you will check it out there. And we appreciate you watching us here today.